Today we're talking all things scalp micropigmentation, or SMP. If you want to learn about this trending procedure, keep on watching. I'm Dr. Parsa Mohebi from Los Angeles, California. Today I'm going to go over scalp micropigmentation, or SMP, which is a trending procedure that can help many people who have hair losses. We're talking about typical male pattern hair loss, female pattern hair loss, or other types of hair loss or scarring of the scalp. Scalp micropigmentation could be used for many people. The most important group of people are people who want to have the appearance of more density, or more bulk, or more having more hair on the top. The second group of people are people who are shaving their head and they just don't want to do hair transplant. They want to create this illusion that they have full head of hair, but they wanted to shave. Also, it's good for people who have scalp scars. The scars could be from previous hair transplant procedure, like old method, strip method hair transplant, that they have a line of a scar from ear to ear, that we can create the appearance of little tiny stubbles on the scar that may minimize the contrast between a scar and neighboring area of the scar. Also, for some congenital hair loss situations that people have patchy hair losses, they can create the same appearance of stubbles of hair. And for any other types of scarring alopecia, which is a type of hair loss that people start losing hair in certain areas on top, or patches all over the scalp. The advantage of scalp micropigmentation over the other procedures like hair transplant is that in short term it's cheaper, so patients don't have to spend per number of grafts for covering a big area, so it's just appearance of having hair without having hair. The other advantage is that it's easy to do. It's like outpatient procedure, in and out. Usually patients need 3 procedures, 3 days separately, but each procedure won't be taking more than 2.5 or 3 hours. There's no pain after procedure, no downtime, no special care of the area after the first day. So it's easy to tolerate, and patients can go back to work immediately after procedure. Well, there's not much healing after one more time. Speaking of healing after scalp micropigmentation, is almost instantaneous. So patients are getting the procedure. They may have mild redness on the areas that we implanted the pigments, but most of the cases people don't see anything at all, and the redness is very minimal, similar to mild sunburn. SMP depends on the type of pigments that we use. Can last between 1 to 2 years, or 7 or 8 years. Some people call it permanent, but it's usually never permanent. When we put the pigments a little bit deeper, they can last longer. Special pigments can last longer, but the disadvantage of those is that they can change color, and they may look a little bit greenish, bluish. But the ones that we use that kind of fade after 2 years, 3 years, they are not changing color, but they need to be getting touch up, so they need to be kind of redone after a few years. Well, usually one package of SMP for somebody who has no hair here and have tons of hair on the back, or many other types of hair, including for people who want to have the appearance of having more density, includes 3 sessions. Usually 3 sessions is sufficient. The first session we spend some time to put the pigments, and we try not to go with maximum density, because people react differently to the pigments, so that's like a test drive. So when you see how the pigments react, if pigments are becoming darker, the second time around we know what to do with it. Basically the second time is the time that we cover everything else and make it as even as possible, and the third round is the time that we do fine-tuning, fill the gaps, and make sure it looks perfectly. So we space them out at least 1 week between those sessions. because we want to make sure the pigments are kind of planted and matured and showing the full result before we do the next pass. SMP cost has to do with the location, with the technique, and with the type of pigments being used. So it's better to contact the offices who are performing SMP, and they will give you the pricing. Usually what we have in our office, we have one package for all 3 sessions for people who need to do 3 sessions, and every 2 years that they need to do basically touch up, the price is going to be significantly lower. I hope I was able to shed some light on SMP or scalp micropigmentation and was able to answer your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the comment section. We'll make sure to review them all and get back to you as soon as we can. Also follow us on parsamohebi.com, social media, and our YouTube channel if you want to know what's trendy, what's new in the field of hair restoration.